Hello and welcome back to Inquisitor Martyr. Last time we showed up on it's an abandoned void station that the Alpha Pariah was found to be on because the Martyr actually dropped out of the warp. So we went there and found there's a bunch of Eldar there, blasted our way through the Eldar, who effectively were refugees, unfortunately. And now we located the Alpha Pariah, and now we're gonna go back and pick her up.
Inquisitor, the Argos are detecting significant hostile forces on this level. Are you absolutely sure you want to go in alone?
I can't allow the Xenos to take the Alpha Pariah. Knowing what I do about her, it could have catastrophic consequences.
It's nice to see the Eldar finally get added to this game. I'm waiting for them to add the Orcs and Tau, and Necrons. We need the Necrons. That better be, like, the next big DLC. Especially because they've kind of been hinting at it with, early on, one of the missions from one of the DLCs for Chaos, where there was the weird pillar with glowing runes. It looks very Necron-y, and not very Chaos-like, so I'm just kind of thinking, come on, you kind of have this sort of building up, just do it, it'll be cool. Which actually kind of reminds me that the Necrons also need some... In the tabletop, they need some more, like, build variety. Like, that just always is one thing that bugs me, is Space Marines and Chaos get a ton of codices, but then pretty much no one else does. There's no alternate codexes for Imperial Guard, or really anyone.
I have noticed a sudden swarm of cherubim. What is happening, Magos?
By restoring the power grid, you have activated the local cherub shrine.
Are these cherubim performing surveillance on this level?
This is their standard behavior pattern after an extended hibernation cycle. If I may give you some advice, you can access the information gathered at the cherubim shrine.
Good. It would be useful to know more about the Eldar forces before barging in.
Hey, I just realized my Commissar Servo Skull isn't here. That's disappointing. I like having my Commissar Servo Skull with me. I might mix it up and use a cherubim or something. Yeah, Wraith Blade, that's the other one. Wraith Guards, Wraith Blades, Wraith Knights. And that's it. I was gonna say, I don't get why they don't have, like, striking scorpions in here, but striking scorpions are kind of just... They're the difference between your standard guardians, which are just Eldar with shuriken rifles, because their pistols are shuriken pistols, and like Howling Banshees. They're close range and melee fighters. Though they do have the Manda blasters, which are cool. New mail! Oh, just more investigation-related stuff. I just exploded that blood. Totally normal. But you notice there isn't any blood from that big pool on the ground? Didn't spill a drop when exploding it. Okay, let's check what this is. Oh, it's just the one clue. Okay. Thought there was more for you guys to read. Did my grenade do that? Because that would be pretty impressive. Also, if you're playing this for the first time, make sure to check all these little alcoves. I'm not, because I'm lazy, but some of them in these missions will have extra blueprints for stuff, so you might as well snag them. Especially if you're playing the tech priest.
You have reached the main grade, Inquisitor.
I want to see what these constructs have recorded since they woke up.
Yep, a warlock. That's another thing that can be a another like kind of commander for the Eldar. I always forget because there's warlocks and farseers, and I always kind of blur them together because they're kind of the same thing. Warlocks can be more magey, but they're typically more of a fighter than farseers that are more magey than not. And if you're thinking, man, this is all kind of stereotypical like fantasy stuff.
Heliport beacon in range.
Dude, they're space elves. Without a doubt, they're straight up space elves. Dark Eldar are space dark elves. You can't really be expecting a ton out of them. Hell, the squats were a thing. They were space dwarves. And then they got squatted out of existence. Tragic, because, like I've said before, once again, army diversity, build diversity. Could have had some really cool designs. Like what they're doing with the Age of Sigmar, those dwarven airship dudes. I would totally use power armored dwarves in airships. With, like, not steam tanks, but kind of steam tanks. I'd go absolutely ham.
The Harbinger's fate resonates in the future. We're at the crossroads, where oblivion looms close.
The one who sees his own doom can better avoid its path.
Spare me. She is dangerous. If we choose poorly, not even the Whispering God can save us.
She is magnificent, isn't she? Like the death of a son.
Her sheer existence fills me with revulsion. But still, she's just a monkey, and a weapon waiting to be used.
Quite the contrary. She has finally taken the stage. Everything will unfold from here.
Then we should play our parts too. Warriors, proceed.
That was fast.
The Harbinger's
I can't get over the guy on the left here,
We're at the crossroads.
who's got the big scroll thing, just T-posing during this whole conversation.
Analysis. The Alpha subject has been manifesting powers currently unlisted in the classified Psyker Index.
I am almost tempted to let her loose on the Xenos and revel in the glorious display of death. I must secure her immediately.
See, the Inquisitor's zeal for killing really makes me wonder if she is some degree of practitioner of chaos. Because that sounds like some Corrin level, you know, murder boner there. And it just comes opposite. It wouldn't honestly surprise me if it turns out a lot of Inquisitors who are overly zealous in the end just work for chaos, whether they know it or not, because of their own zeal and bloodlust. Quit shooting damaging sparkly orbs. Even though those cannons actually, if I remember correctly, they pretty much just open a black hole.
Aiming.
Wow, that almost killed him. I did that just as a complete meme. Man, I'm gonna level up. I think I already did. And I need to just put that right into just raw damage. If I can deal enough on my sniper shots, it'll be perfect. We'll go right. I like the Eldar, I wish they were a little bit better written. But they're so old now that and their lore is kind of like, it gets retconned, but it's still pretty concrete at this point. They need to release new Guardian models. I believe their models, if I saw it right, they've used the same miniature since like 3rd edition. It's 3rd or 5th edition. Either way, it's old enough they need to get some new ones. They look decent, but when you compare them to new models, it's stark.
This is Inquisitor Kraybart speaking on behalf of the Ordo Hereticus of the Holy Inquisition. We have received your code red astropathic transmission. Our fleet is calculating arrival vector as we speak. Prepare to join our forces shortly.
Reinforcements are almost there. Why don't you just wait for them?
The Alpha Pariah has no control over her abilities, and she will react to danger fiercely. And the Ordo Hereticus are not famous for patience.
That's one thing I love about this DLC is introducing... they'll introduce them all in due time, but introducing the Ordo Hereticus, Ordo Xenos, and Ordo...
Loading.
What other Ordo is it? Why am I drawing blanks on everything? Ordo Malleus. Yeah. I had to stop because I was thinking, like, I know the Ordos, but I was just like, which one did they add? Because Ordo Xenos obviously deals with aliens. Ordo Hereticus deals with heretics. And I was like, who else is it? Yeah, it's the Ordo Malleus. Here's a blueprint. Personal void shield.
Loading.
Definitely not a bad thing to grab for new players. I think it's random every time.
Are you trying to flee the mayhem of your own doing?
I am nothing but an observer of the unfolding tragedy.
Stop speaking in riddles. What tragedy?
The Harbinger was brought into existence for a reason. She is either the fall or the last hope of your misguided kind.
Oh, is she now? Tell me everything about the Alpha Pariah, or I will kill you.
You have no sense of timing, human. We will meet again at a more suitable place and time.
What in the name of the Emperor was that creature?
An Eldar Harlequin. A manifestation of death as close to perfection as an alien could ever be. It's a pity that they are Xenos.
Yeah, the Harlequin. Like I said, I like the Harlequins. If I could... I don't know the full rule set for them, but I'd love to build a Harlequin army. I think they would be really fun to play. I will say that one thing I've encountered, and it's probably one of the biggest problems with 40K, at least the tabletop, is there are rule sharks, and I hate those kids. I'm not going to call them adults, they are kids in my eyes. If you have to pull some douchey stuff, be like, actually, the rules allow me to do this, and you're some bespectacled nerd who's probably named Melvin. Whoa, that's a very high-end blueprint. But, if you're some kind of dweeb like that, I hate those people, because they ruin the experience. I get it in a tournament, you want to win, but dude, chill. Who cares? You win, you lose. If you're gonna cheese the game or rule shark, you probably should have been shoved into a locker a few more times when you were growing up. There's better things you can do than to be some jagoff at a tournament. And you can pull like the, hey, that's against the rules, if it's some blatant stuff. But if someone flubs a little, let it slide. I remember seeing one post where a guy ran into some dweeby wannabe Melvin kind of dude who sat there and he held his whole army in reserve because the whole plan was to just deep strike him and just shit on anybody who gets deployed. But this dude, infinite level IQ play, positioned his troops in such a way the guy couldn't deep strike anywhere because the rules wouldn't allow him to put him within like 3 inches of the enemy unit. And so this dude was forced to forfeit because he couldn't deploy. And I love when people like that just get dumpstered. Makes me feel good. And of course, it's always the question of like, what kind of army do you have if you're just deep striking everything? Like, those kinds of builds are exclusively for cheesing. There's no other reason they exist. I gotta say though, this place, of all the locations from the Martyr game, this one definitely gets the
persistence of your kind, Monkey, almost makes you interesting.
I will not rest until I have secured the Imperial subject.
Why? She is unnatural. She is everything we both consider repugnant.
And that is totally irrelevant to the situation.
Still, you don't need to be concerned about her. We will need her alive.
Damn, I just drew a blank. It's the one place that actually gives the fortress monastery look like a proper... It looks like a proper fortress monastery. The only other game I think that does it this well is Space Hulk. I think it's Deathwing. Whichever one's the first-person shooter, that's pretty much just Vermintide. That game does it really well. Granted, that game also needs a ton of work. I will be totally honest. If they wanted to really make a good Space Hulk game, you'd have that level of creativity in the design and atmosphere, and then you'd make it random gen. Every time you play, you know, you're being deployed to this Space Hulk. Okay, you pick a deployment point. Here's, you know, an easy deployment start, and that's all it is a starting point. You know, this is an easy start. You're gonna have to probably clear here anyways, up to hard, where you're gonna be pretty much hot drop into a boss fight. Then, you know, you have a ton of different things. Here's a ruined ship. Here's part of a fortress monastery. Here's part of a Imperial ship. A Space Marine ship, a Chaos Dreadnought crashed into the thing. Here's orcish stuff. All sorts. And then spawn enemies, you know. Oh, this part, you know, this Space Hulk is just full of Tyranids. This one's just full of, you know, orcs, because orcs will inhabit them. Or chaos. And then you go from there. You know, develop bosses. You could do the, like, the kind of, not exactly loot boxy stuff, but like the gear unlocks that Vermintide and stuff have, though I think it needs to be a little revamped because it's still grindy as hell and not that rewarding. But, you know, do something like that, depending on how far you complete. You could almost do ARPG level stuff like in this. Introduce that, introduce all this cool stuff, and you would have a solid game. Because Deathwing had some good things going for it. The Left 4 Dead vibe. Everybody loves it.
Another memory crystal. It might contain some clues.
But it's a formula that we know works. The game just needs to be properly built around it. And that's where, like, Space Hulk, or Deathwing Terminator, I think, or Space Hulk, Deathwing, whatever it was. That's where it failed. That's where all these Space Hulk games fail. Because they don't give you the random gen plus the fun environments. And I mean, think about how much replay value just within environments you could create. Within enemies. You know, Chaos Cultists, mixing in with some Chaos Demons, straight up Chaos Demons, straight up Chaos Space Marines, maybe with some Chaos Demons, maybe with some Chaos Cultists, Tyranids, Orcs. You can come up with a good amount. You just need to sit down and spend the time and the money. And that's where I think the problem is spending the money. Especially with 40K games, the developers typically don't spend as much as they probably should to make a game good. Or they just don't have the skill. I don't know.
Stay away from me! Did you see what I did to those Eldar?
You have given them the gifted of oblivion. It is admirable.
Why have you come back for me? I thought you had abandoned me.
I only left the Martyr because I had no choice. But the machine spirit reached out to me. It is still protecting you.
And what if I want to stay here? Will you kill me then?
Are you not even curious about what you really are? Don't you want to know what you could become?
That's all I've ever wanted. But you didn't answer my question.
It was a foolish question. And you don't want to hear the answer, but follow me and we may achieve great things.
I'll go with you. I don't feel I have any choice, anyway.
Alright, so that is all for now. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to hit the like button. It helps out the channel a lot. If you haven't already, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
Inquisitor Krabat, you may be relieved to know that I've completed my mission without your assistance.
We expected no less of you. However, I demand that you cease your involvement in this matter and place the Martyr and that Alpha Pariah into Ordo Hereticus custody.
I will do no such thing, Inquisitor Krabat. I have started this investigation, and I intend to finish it.
Other Tiberius was a heretic. The Martyr has clearly been a hotbed of heretical activity. This is Ordo Hereticus jurisdiction, and we will purge every last haul of that accursed ship.
The decks are swarming with demons. Are you prepared to start a jurisdictional dispute with the Ordo Malleus as well?
I don't like your tone, Inquisitor. Not one bit.
We could make up a compromise. I can give up the investigation on the Martyr. But the Alpha subject is the most intriguing asset for the Imperium we've had. I must study her abilities.
I usually don't compromise. But considering your stellar achievements in the fight against heresy, I am willing to make an exception.
I sense a but coming.
But we might need your help as well. A sudden outbreak of potentially chaos-related infestation on Cascadia Prime requires attention. We need our forces on the Martyr. If you are willing to investigate the infestation, you can take the Alpha subject with you. The Martyr cannot leave this system, though.
I can accept that compromise.